Okay, so for the compositions of our currency, for the US dollar, we kept the original for like linen and cotton, but after that we added synthetic polymer like in the Canadian dollars. And the reason we kept linen and cotton is because like I feel like it would be better to just keep the original. However, the polymer was added because it's like kind of a thin sheet of plastic that's like surrounding the dollar, and it has a high boiling point, and it has a good resistance to heat and water, so if it accidentally gets like, worn or torn or something, or like dumped in water, it's not gonna immediately like get destroyed. So I feel like that would have been a good choice, and that's why we chose it. And the coloring of the US dollar we chose was bright green, and this is because it's the easiest color for like the human eye to catch. And it's because, like, from the amount of money that gets lost each year, hopefully this will, like, start to prevent it. If it's like, oh, hey, somebody sees $1 on the street, I mean, obviously you'd want to pick it up anyway, but maybe you would be able to see it better and, like, take it. And also, along with this color, the color won't be lost in the dyeing process because with the thin sheet of plastic, the properties don't get, like, degraded, which causes the color to stick and not desaturate over time. And the design of the dollars, we're going to keep it the same and just have, like, the president still there from like, the numbers 1 to 100, because sticking with like, the original American presidents, that just seems like the easiest. And so like for the US coin, we're going to have a composition of both bronze and aluminum, and this is because similar to like the polymer, it has like a variety of resistances when it's like put under certain like circumstances. Now with the addition of like the bronze and both the aluminum, it has like a bunch of corrosion resistance, so it's not going to have any chemical reactions with like any outside forces that come like with it. And it's also going to be able to keep its shape, and it's not going to be able to be like bent or destroyed easily, because obviously it's made out of like both bronze and aluminum, and those are both pretty strong. And so the coloring of the coin will be gold, because that's like the color of both copper and aluminum put together. And just like the design of the US dollar, we're going to keep it the same with like the presidents and all that. So it's honestly not going to look that different from, like a US penny. However, the color will be a little bit lighter. So these were the models of our currency that was like, based off of everything I just said. And so for the coinings, you can see it's like, has that like copperish, like goldish color almost. And it has, like the same design as like the other coins would have, is like it has the president, and it has like those important like buildings on the back. And for the dollar, it's like a bit of a brighter green. I know it looks that similar, but like I tried to make it as bright as I could, so hopefully it shows that it's like a little bit of a brighter green for the US dollar, and it's still gonna have the same design with the presidents and like the specific amount of like how much the money owes. If it's like $1, it still says it's $1, and like all that. So okay, so this is for part C, and this is like the countries and like the production of raw materials, and this is like what we're gonna collect for when we create both the US coin and the US dollar. So for the US dollar, for cotton, since cotton is usually found in like countries like Asia and Africa, we decided to get ours from Africa because that's where like the major exports are. And what's gonna happen is when these plants get harvested, they're gonna go through the process of ginning, which is where, like, the fibers and seeds of the plant get separated, and those get separated in mills. And from there, then they're gonna get, like, packaged and sent out the fibers, and they usually get sent out in, like, certain, like, I don't know, ways, like, productions and stuff like that, and, like, balls and cones. And then linen comes from flax plants, and those flax plants are usually found in, like, colder climates, and those are usually found in North America. And Canada being, like, the biggest producer of the plant, that's where we're gonna get ours from. Now these plants usually get harvested like the same as cotton, and then they're gonna get left out to like dry, and when the fibers of the plant are then like separated from the other parts, like the stems and all that, and processed, they can then be like woven into fabrics, like all different kinds and all that, like linen, and that's where we're gonna get linen from, like that material. And for the US coin, for bronze, since it's both made of like two different like, minerals like tin and copper, those get added together through the process of heating and mixing, and that's where we're going to get bronze from. Now, it's the highest in Chile, which is where you can find, like, copper from, and to get it, we're going to have open pit mining, which makes it easier to, like, extract without the use of, like, tunnels and other sorts of things. And for tin, what's going to happen is we're going to get it from Southeast Asia, and it's going to get mined using, like, hard mining techniques and materials in that order to, like, crush up the minerals and all that. And then it's going to get like melted together to form that bronze. And for aluminum, it's going to be found in the country of Australia. And since aluminum isn't like, a mineral on its own or whatever, it's found in an ore called bauxite. What's going to happen is it's going to get mined and then it's going to get extracted to the Bayer process, which refines it into the aluminum for production, and then it's going to get smelted into the pure metal, which is what we're going to use to make the coin along with the bronze. So for how the US Mint is going to collect all of the materials that I just mentioned, what's going to happen is they're going to be ended up purchasing from a manufacturer who already has all those materials ready and shipped out, and that's how they would do it before anyhow. And what's going to happen is the easiest way to gather this for our dollars and coins is it's not going to be difficult, most likely, to find a manufacturer that's local with them already. So for creating it in general, they're just going to purchase it from there, and then we're just going to go from there and start the process. So for our physical and chemical properties, one of the physical properties we have is density, and this is shown within one of our materials, the polymer, which is used for the US dollar. And this property allows the material to be desirable because this material is allowed to be lighter, and it can flow easily when it's exposed to things like water. With it doesn't have that much density, and that's why, like I said, it can float. And this would allow them to float and be captured easily if they're accidentally dropped somewhere or something similar, because there's not a high density. It's not going to sink. It's not going to be extremely heavy. And for hardness, which is another physical property, it's involved with the US coin in both the aluminum and bronze. And this allows it, the currency, it's unable to be destroyed easily because of how hard it is. And for this, they won't be able to be bent or broken easily because of the mixture of metals. So they're going to be able to last for a very long time. So for the last physical property, we have mass, and it's involved for all the currency, including the coins and dollars, which are going to be desirable because they don't all have a large mass attached to them. And if they did, it would be unappealing because then they wouldn't be able to be carried around as easily. However, because they don't have a high mass, they're able to be carried around because they're light and they're also small and all that. And attached for all of our things, there's not any chemical properties attached because we wouldn't want to have any reactivity with any of our products or materials that have been added to our currency.
Part A of environmental implications, we have cotton and linen, which can both be picked by hand. However, to keep these plants alive and growing, we need to use pesticides, which is then sprayed onto the plant and the soil. Therefore, if an animal were to come up and eat those crops, they could be contaminated with those poisons. Or if there's runoff into a waterway of the soil, then those poisons could then get into the water and affect ocean life or even our own lives if we intend to drink that water, or if it gets into the overall water systems. Next, we have bronze and aluminum, which both are found in the Earth's core. So underground mining, that will lead to tunnels collapsing if it were to happen. Or we have open pit mining and brine mining, which can lead to sinkholes later on down the line. Both of these will release toxic substances into our air or even into our waterways if there's waterways nearby. So overall, any environments that are near these mining sites could be in jeopardy. Part B of environmental implications. Our coins and paper currency are going to be able to be reused and recycled daily. Dollars won't be able to be torn or destroyed easily with the help of a thin layer of polypropylene polymer plastic, which has a high melting point as well as tear resistance. Not to mention, it's water resistant. Having such low density does cause it to float. For the coins, with the aluminum and bronze mixture, the coins have a resistance to corrosion and are mixed at a high heat, which causes it to be harder than copper, making it extremely durable. It doesn't matter the situation, either making a deposit at the bank or giving back a customer change. This form of currency can be used in different places with different people for a long span of existence.